Hey there. I'm really glad you're here in the Sink and Swim podcast. Before we get into today's episode, a little housekeeping. I want to help you get oriented just so you know where you are, how the space works, and how to take care of yourself while you're listening. So first, a gentle invitation. As you listen or watch, see if you can listen not only with your ears or watch with your eyes, but also by noticing what's going on inside your body. And that may change throughout the whole episode. And as you notice, permission to know you don't need to fix anything, you don't need to analyze it, but just notice it. Some parts of you might feel seen. Some might feel exposed. Some parts might feel resistance or concern about what we're saying. Other parts might feel relief, encouragement, or they might want to reach through and help us or hug me if it's just me talking. So notice how you feel as you settle in, whether you're listening in a quiet place or out on a walk or driving or in the middle of something, and also how you feel when you're done. That noticing is a really sacred work. And after you listen to the episode and notice, if you find yourself feeling the tug to stay connected to me or to the podcast or to any of my guests, please make sure to check the show notes and also make sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening right now. Now is a great time to go hit that subscribe button. And I'm not asking that for numbers, but because it lets the episodes find you without you having to remember or keep track. And if you like having something you can read or revisit or sit with more slowly, you can also subscribe to my newsletter, and that's in the show notes as well. You can also find clips and highlights on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Substack, and Facebook. At any point today, later, or months from now, if something in you starts whispering, I feel this nudge inside. My life or my work looks really good on paper. Everything I've built should feel good, but that's not how I feel. And sometimes that can be a sign that it's time for deeper support and reorientation. And that's where working with me in a soul story mapping session comes in. It's a private one-on-one session, not a discovery call, not a sales conversation. It's an actual coaching space to map what's true for you right now and get clear on what wants to shift. Even if you don't do anything with it, we're just going to map it out. All of the links to all of those things live in the show notes, so you don't have to hold any of this in your head, but I'm saying it now to orient you in case you're listening and something comes up and you want to know where to go next. Okay, let's drop into today's episode now. All right, y'all, I'm so excited about this. This is the first interview of the Sink and Swim podcast of 2026, kicking off the year. And I couldn't have picked a more perfect human to start with. You are about to meet Dr. Brianne Grogan, Dr. Bree, a doctor of physical therapy with nearly 20 years in women's health and pelvic wellness. She's also a woman who is actively in the middle of an identity shift that I think so many of you will recognize. Bree has been known for years as a vibrant pelvic health YouTube sensation with a massive library and huge reach. And recently she did something some might consider wildly brave. She stopped creating for that channel. Not because she stopped caring, but because she realized she had outgrown it and the work wanted to evolve somewhere else and take her with it. She's currently living in Bend, Oregon in what she calls her healing house. And the way she talks about her work is not just physical therapy. It's not pelvic health anymore. It's where medicine meets magic. She's been playing with the title Body Medicine Journey Facilitator, kind of like a plant medicine guide, which I love, like trying to figure out that label. What are you going to call yourself? And we dug into that a little bit. But unlike plant medicine, where the medicine is plants, obviously, the medicine is your own body. And I feel like we could all use a bit more of that medicine these days. And I love this conversation because we didn't do the polished, here's the lesson after I've arrived and I'm all evolved and I know everything and can teach it all to you. We caught things in the process, the secrecy, the unlearning, the fear of being too much, the grief of outgrowing old roles and old people and old patients and old colleagues, and the relief and aliveness felt inside of finally coming home to what's true. And we also had some moments like somatic drop-in moments, which are some of my favorite ones, where you can actually, if you're available and you have the ability, you can drop in and notice what happens in your body as you listen. And I invite you to do that anyway. And I invite you to do that not to fix anything, not to make it mean anything, but just to be with it. And if you listen all the way to the end, we talk about that. Is one little gift that Brie gives, this little experiential somatic moment. So if something in you feels like, oh gosh, yeah, or if something in you feels resistant to what we're saying, or you feel seen, or it feels a little confusing, you don't quite understand what we're saying, all of that is welcome here and perfectly okay. And whether you're in healthcare, you work in a service profession, or you're a recovering, high achieving, rule following, straight A human, hopefully you will feel the permission to notice and be with the deeper nudges within you that live underneath your own surface and sink into those even just a little bit in listening to this episode. And I hope more than anything else, you feel seen in this episode, because I certainly did. So let's get into it. All right. Welcome, Brianne Grogan. Dr. Brie, how's life?
Good. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Me too. So you're the first interview of 2026.
Ooh, that feels very special. Thank you.
You're kicking us off. I know. I couldn't think of a better person.
Aw, thank you. Year of the fire horse coming in hot, huh?
Oh, yeah. She's coming in hot for sure. And I think this is going to publish right around the changeover date in mid-February.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yes. Okay. Tell us how life is right now in Bend, Oregon, where you are stationed.
Yeah, life is good. Gosh, it's cold. It is foggy. It's, we're dealing with all the weather things that other people are, but life is good. I'm loving my new home, my new healing house that we built, and we're just really feeling settled and nesting, still in the nesting phase.
Yes, I know. I've loved watching your move in and nesting and arrangement and building and all the things of the healing house, which we'll talk about. I have so many questions.
Yeah.
And tell us who's we.
My husband and I. So
Yay.
we're empty nesters now. Our son is 18 and he is going to college. And so I always associate my career with my son because
Right.
I've been a physical therapist for 20 years, but I've been a pelvic floor specialist since I was pregnant with him. So like 18, 19 years now. So yeah, he was the impetus for all of this.
What a beautiful gift. Isn't it so funny how, for so many of us, myself included, our situation becomes the gift that keeps on giving, whatever it was we went through. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I think some of what we'll get into today is like, it's so much deeper than just physical therapy. Like, it's all of the wounded healer stuff that we bring into our work and that really makes it sing to us. It's why we do what we do.
Why we do what we do, the wounded healer. And I think it's such a beautiful energy for anyone out there listening, that if you are the person who got into your work because of some part of your story that led you to give back to other people, it's such a beautiful thing. And also, I want to normalize that it's okay if you aren't a wounded healer.
Oh, yeah.
You
totally.
know, you don't have to have gone through it. I think that's actually a really beautiful perspective sometimes, to almost have this like 30,000 foot view on things and be able to be a portal of healing to other people. When it's like that person who's reaching down, who maybe doesn't viscerally understand, but still has that empathy and compassion for the human experience.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, okay. So you mentioned you've been a PT for nearly 20 years, and you have started to describe yourself differently, which I love, as someone who's gone through the identity shift as well, and it's an ongoing shift. Tell us a little bit about your title, your self-dubbed description or title, or whatever you want to call it.
And it's still shifting. I'm still totally working on the new title, but really I'm seeing my work now as, rather than from the medical lens. And granted, I've always been super holistic in the way I work with my clients, but rather just from like pelvic health and medical and wellness and that kind of perspective. I'm now bringing in the magic so much more. So I really love saying this is where medicine meets magic, and really highlighting that magic component. And I have been playing with the idea of describing myself as a body medicine journey facilitator, kind of
Ooh,
like anyone who might be familiar with a plant medicine journey. I really truly believe that we have a similar, sensation. We can have similar sensations to a plant medicine journey within our own body. And so we often will work with a plant medicine journey facilitator. If you are interested in that world, if you've ever tried that world, if you've ever gone down that path, it's really nice to work with someone who can help you through it. And so that is what I'm seeing my role as now, as a body medicine journey facilitator. So I think a lot of people won't get that when I say it. So I'm kind of not sure if it's going to work, but I'm like, well, I like it. So at the very least, I'm like, I know
yeah.
this is what I'm doing. And
It's like your internal compass, your internal title, your working definition, which is the first and most important part of your identity, and how you do it is what the world sees and feels and experiences. And I love when people will be like, Julie, what do you do? And I'm like, well, how long do you have? or or people who I know won't get like a title like that. I'm like, oh, life coaching.
right.
Like I figure out sort of what will fit people at the level, like meeting them at the level they are.
Right.
You
You have
know,
to know
you
your audience. You have to
you
know your
do.
audience.
And I feel like we start these episodes and we've already done it. Like we start on this surface level. It's sort of like physical therapist, right? And then we sink deeper and deeper and deeper in our discussion. And it's like you're being daring enough to define yourself from that deeper layer. Like the PT part never leaves you, and you're just integrating different identities that probably have always been there, but you're just discovering them magically.
Magically, yeah. And allowing myself to talk about it publicly, because I think that this has been a big part of my journey is, I mean, how deep do you want to go, sister? But it's like a
That's what
big
we're here
part
for.
has been secrecy and like keeping parts of myself secret and, just not telling the full truth to all sorts of people in my world, and not necessarily in a bad way, in a self-preservation way. And I just realized that why not let it out? Why not be really me rather than having two parts of me and two sides of me, and the side that the world sees and then the side that I'm actually exploring in my everyday real life world. It's like, why not bring it together and be a little more open about that?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. That's the journey most of my clients are going on. And I know it's complicated, right? You didn't wake up one day and be like, I'm just going to let everyone see it. Or maybe you did. Maybe there
No.
was a moment or a process. But what would you say if you could? I mean, obviously, you can't sum this up in a sentence, but what things facilitated that for you? What processes, what experiences?
Mm.
Tell us a little bit or walk us through what that looked like.
Gosh, like you said, it's been a long journey, because I would say really it all started in about 2015. So, I mean, we're talking 11 years now that I really started feeling this shift internally
Mm-hmm.
and started wanting to bring it more to the surface. So, it's been over the course of quite a long time that I've been feeling the changes and slowly feeling the need to express it more. And I've been finding ways to express it again, kind of subversively, kind of in like little pockets of the internet and pockets of my clients and pockets of my life. But I would say it's been within the last 2 years that I've really been like, okay, no, I'm going to voice it more clearly. And within the last several couple of months that I'm like, okay, now done with the Vibrant Health YouTube channel, Vibrant Pelvic Health YouTube channel, which was my main way of
Yeah.
expressing my work in my world. And I just said, I'm done with that aspect of my business. I'm not done with my Vibrant Pelvic Health business, but I'm done with the creation, content creation specifically for that YouTube channel, which really wasn't showing the full expression of me. And
Mm-hmm.
so I put an end to it. And that was just that was December 2025. So like 1 month ago,
Mm-hmm.
as we're recording this, I felt literally one day I was like, I am done. I will never intentionally create another pelvic health YouTube video for that channel again. So yeah,
How did that feel to?
liberating, so liberating. Because I mean, I was on that platform for Vibrant Pelvic Health, creating pelvic health, fitness, and wellness content and informational content for I 15 years, I think.
Yeah.
I have like 860 some videos on there. And really, it just got to a point where I would have requests for a certain type of video or, answering the same question again. And I love the questions and I love the people I serve. It's not that, but I just got tired of being like, oh my gosh, I've already created 3 videos on that topic. And you just have to search for them using the magnifying glass. Like they're there. And I'm not going to create another video of the same thing. And so, yeah, I guess I just kind of got tired of being low key resentful of people asking for the same things over and over. I got low key resentful. And I'm like, this isn't fair to them because these people asking these requests, they are just wondering. They're just curious. It's not their fault that they don't know. I've done this before and I'm kind of tired of doing it. So I thought to myself, they don't need to change. I need to change and just put an end to this. Felt so freeing.
They don't need to change. I need to change. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's such a beautiful, I say this all the time to myself. I remember like uncovering that resentment is a crossing of a line, right? A crossing of a boundary. It's like a sign of that, right? Or irritation, however you want to name it, And there's so much power behind that and going, well, what line is being crossed and why is it being crossed? Is it me that's facilitating that? Is someone breaching the boundary without my consent? All of that. And I love how you, 1, are naming resentment and 2, are like, whoa, 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 whoa. I don't need something out there to change. This is my charge to take on.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'd been fighting it for a couple of years, this feeling of that was kind of bubbling inside. And then I just realized again, what I just said, and thought, time to just cut it.
Yeah.
So I'm also not making any rules. I mean, now and then I'll upload a short that I put on like an Instagram, like an exercise, and I'll upload it to YouTube. It's not like I have this rule that like, you could never post to that Vibrant Pelvic Health YouTube channel again. It's because I found myself going that extreme too, like never again. And if I put anything on there at all, then I'm selling out or I'm going against my word. And so I'm having to just confront that right now too, this black or white thinking and this kind of all or nothing mentality that sometimes I do have. And I think of myself as a balanced person. So I sometimes don't realize when I'm being black and white. And, I realized this recently, just today, I was like, hey, why not put this exercise on my YouTube channel? But then my brain was like, no, you said you'd never post to it again. It's like, oh my God, who cares? Who cares? No one cares.
Who's out there with the chart and the clipboard being like, wait a minute, this is what you said. The cosmic, I call it like the cosmic,
being a rule follower and a rule follower. And as we were joking before this started airing, a straight A student, we're used to doing things by the books. And if we say something, we stick to it. Damn it. Come hell or high water.
Well, what's so beautiful about that is I find in the identity work I do with people when they're making a very similar transition that you are in the midst of and, moving towards the other side of, is the black and white is where our systems go for protection. It's where we go for safety. It's the voice that was speaking up that was like, no, don't, right? For several years that was resisting, because it's like, I am either all this or all this.
Yeah.
And it takes these little micro steps and these little experiences, usually in a relationship with someone else who can see you and mirror you and go, it's okay, it's safe here, right? To move more into that middle road. And you're still there, like you made this declaration. And then you're like, well, wait a minute, there's some leeway here. There's some gray area. Like maybe what I meant was I'm not consciously creating for this platform alone, but if I create something somewhere else, I can still share it, it's a benefit.
Yeah.
And so it's like even in the shift and the integration of your identity, you're finding that nuance, which is so beautiful.
Yeah. And realizing I'm a multifaceted human being and there are so many parts of me. I don't need to just choose one or the other. It's like I can integrate both. That does sometimes make it feel a little hard. I sometimes feel a little stretched when I'm trying to integrate all of my identities. Yeah. But it's also reality is that I'm not one or the other. I am both. And so juggling it all. Oh my God.
I'm not one or the other. I am both.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. So beautiful. I picture like a yin and yang, but without such a strict line down the middle. There's like, it's like a fuzzy line. Yeah. Oh, beautiful. I feel like a lot of women, you said you had the resistance for a couple years. It would feel terrifying to be giving and giving and giving and giving and be in this identity and then step into what feels like a completely alter ego or another one or something secret you've been holding that is true for you, but the rest of the world doesn't know. What did crossing that threshold, that moment, December 2025, even though you're still grappling with it, what did it give you?
Yeah. Well, it definitely gave me a sense of freedom and a sense of owning. One thing it gave me was this word that I think that I've shared with you is this sense of like owning my weirdness and owning magic. And this weirdness, I've been playing with it and really like feeling into who's the one judging this weirdness. Because I've been thinking that people are going to think this new direction that I'm going is so weird and out there and woo woo. And I'm realizing that actually it must be something inside of me that's judging it. Again, I keep turning things back on myself because it's true. Like I'm not just being hard on myself. Like this is all deep excavation work where I'm like, God, like I love this new path of womb work and really feeling the depth of feeling and sensation that sometimes too much, it blows my capacity for feeling in my own body.
Mm-hmm.
Work with certain clients who are open to this. They're like, oh my God, what is happening? Like, this is crazy. And like, this isn't normal talk at a normal, when I was a regular physical therapist on the job in the clinic, we weren't having these like crazy, like womb awakening experiences. It wasn't happening, it's definitely weird to the world that I grew up in and the world that I was trained in, and everything was evidence-based medicine and blah, blah, blah. So to me, I think I have a lot of self-judgment about this being weird or that people are going to think it's weird. And I've had to come to terms with this. So although it gave me freedom in December when I kind of made this declaration that I'm moving in a new direction, it also gave me this reckoning of like, why do I think this is so weird? Because clearly I do. When I keep talking about it and I keep talking about how weird this is, and people around me are like, this isn't that weird. Like, I see this as always being who you've been, or I see like this is pretty normal. I'm like, oh my God, so it's me? Like, I'm the one who has the issue? You guys are all fine? Like, what is my. It's that itself has been a bit of a journey that I'm still going through.
That moment when someone calls you on your own bullshit,
Right.
and it's like, but that's what I'm talking about. It's like we need that. I say this all the time. We need that accurate mirror and sometimes that mirror is a little bit of a slap in the face when you're like, oh, it's not y'all, it's me. Cool.
Right.
And I also want to name that it's a very real thing that, like, to anyone listening, it's not like you woke up one day and we're like, I'm going to believe that I'm weird.
Right.
I'm choosing this. It's narratives we adopt unknowingly without consent, usually before we're old enough to even know that they're getting infiltrated into our neurons from society, from culture, from gender, from your profession, right? When you're an impressionable 20-something getting a degree, guess what? Your prefrontal cortex still hasn't just formed to go, wait a minute, hold on, do I want to believe that? And then just family, personal, religion. I mean, we could just go on for days for where the narratives come from, and that's not to blame, but it's like, it's to humanize the fact that we are like programmable beings. We're like these little computers running around that are easily programmed, and it's that moment of awakening where you're like, hold up, wait, is this my story? Whose voice is that? It sounds a lot like mine,
Right.
but I don't actually think that's mine.
Yeah. Well, and I thought it was my mom's story. I thought my mom thought that I was so weird because I did grow up in a family that was very much like anti the woo, anti angels, anti crystals, anti yoga, like anti anything, anti having a menstrual cycle, having like knowing or talking about sex or anything related to your body. All of that was very, very not just taboo, but like disgusting. And like that was very much the flavor of my reality. And so yeah, I've always kind of thought that I knew I had this programming in me. I knew it was there. And so I think that informed my own sense of I must be a weirdo. And then my mom actually called me out, and she was like, why do you keep calling yourself weird? It's not that weird. Like all these girls, like she's like, it's not my thing, but all you girls that are your age now, girls, I'm 45 years old. All you girls that are your age now, you're all talking about this stuff anyway. So that was interesting to just realize that I think I've really enmeshed myself so deeply with my family, with my mom, and without really realizing it, kind of thought we were one and the same. And she is different from me, and I am different from her, and she's in a different generation. And the women that are of a younger generation than me are different than me. And it's like, I just need to realize that I'm actually not that weird. And this is actually something a lot of people are very open to. And it's okay if my mom wasn't. She actually accepts me more than I thought she did, which was really wild for me. Yeah.
How did that feel? Like, was there permission or liberation, or was it like, again, humbling? What did it feel like to
It was
realize?
almost like a story I'd almost been clinging to about how she thought I was so weird was actually not true. And like, oh, I don't have that story anymore. Like, oh God, like what's my truth then? Like
Now
I've
what?
always been almost like victimy. Like,
Yeah,
I have
right.
to keep things secret because my mom thinks I'm weird, but she actually doesn't. And so it was almost like, oh, it was this weird, I don't even know how to describe it, but it was like these chains that I thought were there were never.
Brie, I had a really similar moment. I won't call out the person, but with someone in a close, intimate relationship just earlier this week. And the instantaneous freedom that came from realizing they saw me and they saw a certain thing that I was passionate about, maybe not the same way as me, but they didn't see it as weird or different or out there. And also recognizing how important their perspective and their view of me is, and like being okay with that, like they matter to me, right? And there was something that awakened in that moment, like it unlocked something of oh, and I know exactly what you're saying. It was like, well, no, they might have demonstrated something a long time ago that I internalized, but it maybe isn't even related to this, but my body has turned it into this protect story of I'm blaming them for why I'm not
Right.
expressing something.
And now you have, for me at least, it's like, and now I have no one else to blame. And so now I've just got to go do this damn thing. Right.
It unlocks choice. There's
It
choice
unlocks
now.
choice. Exactly. Yeah.
And when you have choice, it turns down the sympathetic nervous system, all of its fight, flight, freeze, fawn responses. It's like you lose the volume. Not that those go away, but it's like all of a sudden it's like, oh,
yeah,
I don't have to be activated. I can actually move towards in a way that's nurturing for me and for others. And that's really beautiful.
Yeah. This is helpful just to talk through it with you because this is all very fresh in my world.
That's actually the point, right? And I've said this, you're the first person of season 2, but season 1, it's like, we want to catch it in the moment of process. Right. And like show that we're not arrived at this place and we're still in the sinking. We're still down at the bottom metabolizing things. And this is what it looks like. I literally got on a session right after I had this aha this week. I got on a session with my therapist and I was like, I got to share this. Yeah. Let's process, like it was just one of those moments of like, yeah. Whoa. And feeling, I love how you're describing this aliveness you feel. Like we were all up in my pelvis doing somatic work. It was like, whoa. I mean, I'm going to need a minute, to titrate into this because it's a lot for my whole system to process because it's so alive.
It is. And it lives in your root. I mean, your root chakra is like so tied to stability and stories that you've had forever and belief systems and all of that. So when that's shaken up and you're released, it does take a while to titrate that. Yeah. Yeah.
I find that somatic work is actually a really beautiful bridge between physical therapy and the what we might have once called the woo.
Yeah. I struggle with that word. I totally used it today but everyone knows it. We know what
you're saying.
About.
Yeah.
We know it. Yeah.
Well, it's the unseen. It's the untethered, the seems magical, but there's so much science behind it actually, if we actually are going to break it down. But, I think that when you can't see it and you can't touch it and there's not a lab test for it, the medical world is probably the first world, right? And the like scientific world is the first world that's like, ooh, that's woo, but as you break from that black or white, it's like, well, hold on, this is actually very real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Santa Claus is woo. This is not.
And we all feed that line. Right? It's so strange. The Santa Claus story it's very strange what we do.
We're going to talk about the unseen and the magical. Like it is magical to a 5-year-old.
Yeah. Exactly.
Amazing. Okay. I want to shift to sinking a little deeper and like this idea of shifting the identity into we can call it weird, but normal for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Normal for me. Right. weird in the space of people who are just like you or can mirror that, right? I'm sorry, normal in the space of people that can mirror that. Blah, blah, blah. Because we're both in the process of integrating / shedding / just shifting away from the identity of PT. I know a lot of people who listen to this are in that process or contemplating that process or resisting that process or looking at us and going, who are they? Like to think that, whatever. So many reactions. If anyone's listening and your body's resisting, it's okay. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's fine. But yeah, I wonder if you could speak a little bit to what you wish women in healthcare, whether it's PT or nursing or physician or any, licensed credentialed role, what women would understand about the shift or what we might call the outgrowing of that title, of that box, of that role.
What comes to my mind from my experience, which may or may not speak to others, is that I think when I was feeling the shift inside of me, when I was wanting to shift and I was worried about the shift, I mean, part of it is everything we've already talked about. But the other aspect is the fear of like leaving my clients behind, like leaving my patients behind and feeling like my whole goal is service. That's all I want to do. I went to school to be a physical therapist, but then I quickly switched to nursing and I was in a nursing program for a few years before I ended up, graduating in a different degree and becoming a physical therapist. But I did 2 solid years in a dedicated nursing program. And I just think of nurses as such a heart of service, as a general group. I think that for me, that has been the biggest thing, is feeling like I'm somehow betraying my people, my client base that I've grown over the years by moving, because not everybody is there. And that's okay. Not everyone, wants to move with me and gets it or cares. And I also have to deal with my own demons of external validation and wanting to be validated by my clients and wanting them to love me, as I shift. It's like, not only am I leaving some people behind in a way, air quotes, leaving them behind, but I'm also having to deal with a small audience, a small handful of people who are coming with me and being okay with all of that. So it's all of those wrapped up into one that somebody in a similar position may be grappling with right now.
Yeah. I could so resonate with that idea of leaving people behind.
Yeah.
For me, it was clients and colleagues.
Yes.
I think that might be part of the reason, not to psychoanalyze too much, that I'm still reaching back and being like, you can come too. And I think that there's nothing wrong with the need or the drive or the desire for external validation. We actually need that as humans because we are communal and we can't live in a vacuum and only live on internal validation. That's not an energy source that's sustainable. And yet I love the awareness of, wait, not everyone wants to come.
Right.
They're okay with me leaving them behind. That's okay. And actually, I'm not leaving anyone behind. I'm leaving them where they are, and where they are is perfect. Yeah.
Exactly. And I want to also peg what you said about colleagues, because that's another big one. That was another one for me too, for sure, is kind of like, gosh, I never was really part of the cool PT club anyway. I kind of have always done my own thing, but yeah, leaving colleagues behind and maybe doing something. I'll not be part of those, like the groups that like comment on each other's posts or like are posting similar things or supporting each other or speaking in conferences anymore that are part of a, physical therapy organization. I won't be invited to those anymore. And that's okay. Like, it's okay. Yeah.
Is there for you, I know there has been and there continues to be grief in that at all, or like sadness?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it hits on all of the childhood wounds that so many of us have experienced, the sister wound. So many physical therapists specifically are women, and especially in pelvic health. I mean, it's a woman-dominated industry for sure. And so, yeah, just feeling like you don't fit in anymore. There's a lot of grief there. It brings up all of the little girl insecurity issues that many of us have.
Yeah. I picture like 7th grade Julie who's looking around feeling like, she doesn't quite fit in any group. I'm not in the groups, but I'm not in any one.
Totally.
Or like my foot's in the door in every single one a little bit. But there's something really sad about that moment because you feel lonely, and outcast and exiled. But there's something so liberating about the outcasting and exile, outcasting and exiling process from
Well, and
your
if I can add one more thing to this whole conversation is the idea of also not being too much too.
Hmm.
Because when you do step into your new path, you might find yourself being bold in a different way. And then it's like well, who does she think she is? And she's, too big for her britches, or she's being like, she needs to tone it down a little bit. So I do have a little bit of that too. Like, why is she trying to be all like magical woo woo now? Like, nobody's thinking these things. It's all in my own brain. But at the same time, this has happened in my past. There's been some cutting down, and some don't be too bold or big, don't shine too bright. Like all of that, so many of us have experienced that. So that's definitely another piece of this
Yeah.
pain and grief and fear as anybody is making the transition to a new path.
And I feel like it could be very tempting to go, well, screw all them. I'm just going to do what I want. Like, raise your torches. All right. But that feels like, well, actually, I know it is. It's a form of like ignoring or bypassing your own grief and the very real human need to belong. And I remember the day, it was several years ago, just reading and learning in somatic training, like we're wired for belonging more than we are for authenticity.
Oh, wow, that hits.
Doesn't it? And I was like, well, that explains why, because we have the childhood wound part, but then there's just the normal human need to be seen, held, reciprocated, and mirrored by current peers
Mhm.
or intimate relationships. And so that resistance of what will they think of me? I'll be all alone. They'll think I'm too much is actually a very intelligent part of your system saying, whoa, 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 don't break the bonds until you have other bonds, at least
Right,
one, right?
right.
That can see you and hold you and be like, you're safe here. We're good. You're weirdo, whatever. We're here for it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can actually really see that in my own process. I don't know if you can, we don't have to name them.
Oh, yeah.
Can you think of the people who were that
Yes.
sort of like exit ramp? They were holding the door open that were like, come over here. It's okay.
Totally. It's my training program. So the Origin Pelvic Care training program that I embarked on 2 years ago. And I think I mentioned that 2 years ago is kind of when I really started being like, okay, I'm going to be a little more
Yeah.
in this new way. And so you're putting this together in a way that's really powerful for me. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the coaching session, Julie.
You're welcome.
But yeah, it's true. They opened a part of me that's always been there. I just didn't have the support network for it. And so having that new group to turn to allowed that new form of authenticity, because it is authentic, but it didn't feel natural. And it still sometimes feels like, am I just like putting on a mask? Because I'm very good at being a chameleon. I can fit into any group. I think, yeah, many of us, we've been there, right? And so I can, but I'm like, no, there's some deep in my bones, like truth to this, but I didn't have the model for it. I didn't have the community for it. I didn't know what it even looked like until I found this program. And a lot of these women are, younger than me. They have a different audience than me. So I still find myself straddling the world of working with an audience, working with clients, working with people who speak the language of, the other side of me, and who speak the language that's not necessarily in this new way. And so I'm now having to be the model for people who want to come into this new direction. And that feels edgy to me.
It does.
They were my model, the Origin Pelvic Care training program that I'm just wrapping up, a 2-year program. They were my model. And I'm forever grateful. I really am.
Yeah.
It gave me permission. And that's really what it is permission to be that side of you.
Permission to be that side of you. And something you named that I just want to like, whoa, can we like shine the flashlight on that is when you were like, I don't know, am I masking? Is it a chameleon or is this real?
Yeah.
What a wise question to what I can only imagine I'm hearing was, or at least a sensation of at home.
Yeah.
And I think that for years, what we think is home is not home, speaking on the phrase of exiling, right? And then when you realize you're home and it's the people around you that are eliciting that, and it's not people you ever would have imagined are those people.
Right.
That is a moment to like capture and like feel what that sensation is in your body.
For sure. Well said. And yeah, because that word home, like they're very different than my home. Like if we're thinking truly of what I got used to, what I grew up with, it's the complete opposite. And so it's different. And you choose, like, is this real or is it just different? Oh no, it's real. Oh no, it's real. But how weird that this isn't what I was delivered onto this planet into. So it's like you have to go do the deep work within yourself to discover what is authentic. And I feel like body work and getting to know my body, getting to feel my body has been the biggest bridge for me to know, to have that
Same.
gnosis.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I love that. I feel like we're both kind of uniquely poised between the two worlds, like you said, to be that bridge for people who are maybe in one world and like, I'm kind of curious about that other world. And to be able to put language around it or like be a translator almost, like, okay, this is what we're actually talking about. It's not actually this weird
Right.
thing. It's actually just I heard this phrase a couple of weeks ago. You're just learning your body's original language,
Yes. Yes.
like maybe for the first time, or you're getting back in touch with it. Maybe you were in touch with it at some point, but didn't know you were and got out of touch with it and started speaking another language, which helped you communicate with the world, who you are. And now you're getting in touch with a language that feels foreign, but it couldn't be more at home. And no wonder you're going, is this real? Is it not?
Yeah. We speak of it in our program as original anatomy too.
Mm,
This sense of being whole and belonging, which a lot of us didn't necessarily feel in our
yeah.
family of origin. We didn't necessarily feel whole and belonging for many
Right.
reasons. And so getting back to the original language, the original anatomy is really a lot of people may never get there because they don't know that there's another way. And that's my prayer, is that more people will open their hearts to, gosh, if I'm feeling off, maybe there is a more authentic way of being that I can just learn to step into, that I can open to, Because maybe I didn't grow up with something that was authentic to me. Maybe that's why I feel caught between worlds or like something's off. So maybe there's another way.
So many women think that something is wrong when
Yeah,
your body feels off.
right.
I know I did. I'm thinking of when my business 5 years ago was catapulting, that's the word,
Hmm.
into a frontier that was huge, growth, scaling, like huge income. And my body was constantly speaking up. And I thought, as a medical person, as a wellness person, I was like, ooh, there are all these things to balance, and all these things are off, and all these things are wrong. And I put my attention there. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's like I missed the deeper message for a while. I just either wasn't ready to hear it or it just, whatever. And now I see that it was such intelligence
Hmm.
of what was trying to emerge.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Crazy. All right. Speaking of coming home, you are putting down roots still in that nesting phase in Bend, Oregon. But
Yeah.
before that, you had 12 years in Germany,
Yes.
where talk us through that. How did that?
Well, we were there for my husband's job. So he is a teacher and he was a civilian contractor for the US military. And so we were brought over to Germany to work with the military families. So he taught the military kids. And we were only intending to be there for like 2 years. We'll just try this out. Why not? But we stayed for 12. And I will say that I loved the experience. It was profound in so many ways. I mean, just the travel opportunities and the cultural opportunities and the experience. And also it helped me really grow my business and be able to have the space to learn and to do my yoga teacher training in Spain and to go to Thailand for a month for tantra training and like all these crazy
Amazing.
experiences that I would not never have been able to do when we were in the States and I was working a regular physical therapy job. So I was able to really grow in so many different ways and really started opening Pandora's box in a way to this wide world of spirituality and stuff I'd always been interested in. But I finally had the financial padding and resources and time to be able to explore it a little. So yeah, it changed everything.
Changed everything. Oh, we'll just do it for 2 years and then why not? That energy, both of those.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Although I will say my root chakra was pretty messed up. I never felt at home. I'm very tied to place and I'm very tied to my home state, which is Oregon. And so although on one hand, I had this amazing experience and I knew I was lucky. I knew I was grateful, but I was always like, I don't want to be here. I do not want to be here. And it was really messed with my system because I was very agitated about being somewhere that didn't feel like home.
Yeah. I can relate. It's like a pilgrimage of sorts,
Yeah.
like this, we're on a journey, but this isn't actual home.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But I feel like we could only say it's a pilgrimage looking back. Would you agree?
Yes.
Sort of like, yeah.
True. When we were in it, it was more like a crucible. It was
Yeah.
like trial by fire. I mean, again, wonderful. I'm not trying to say, oh,
Yeah.
poor me. I had to live in Germany and do tantra training and yoga teacher training. But, it was hard. There were elements that were really hard. And through the pandemic and through there was just so many things that were challenging.
Speaking of being home and things that are hard and the pandemic and we'll say early 2020s,
Hmm.
you were in a business partnership and it is no longer
Yeah.
here in 2026.
Yeah.
Walk us through that process, how it felt in the process, and what has kind of helped you get to the other side of it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. That process was painful. It was so painful. It came about from joining forces with actually a person who found me through my YouTube channel. And it was a man, and he had benefited from my work himself, just my YouTube videos. And so he was an online course creator. And I already had these kind of, I had some courses, but they were not very, I'll just say they could use some work on their level of professionalness. They were great material, great content, but they needed some upgrades as far as marketing and packaging them up, et cetera. And so he and I joined forces. It also really grew my reach and my business because we were now speaking to men as well. And men's pelvic health is a hugely underserved area, or at least it was back when we joined forces in 20. And so it was wonderful. It was so, for my feminine energy, which is a bit all over the place, as we are, we are wild, we are
Flowy.
creation, we are flowy, we are lunar, we're cyclical. There's all the beautiful things about female energy, which having some containment, having some masculine energy in a business partnership was magical. I could rest into being, we joked, I said I got to be the show pony, and he was I just got to be the face of the business and
I
make
love
this,
this.
connect with people. And I loved being the show pony. And I loved having someone have the structure and the plans and the direction and get it all together and get it online and what have you. So that was brilliant. And the business grew, and I was able to, improve my income and just really feel proud of what I had online. But for a number of personal reasons, that partnership basically imploded, like completely imploded right around the time when we were moving across the world back to Oregon. And it was like everything, just like so many people I've heard their stories during that 2-year time stretch. A lot of people had a lot of shakeups, and I was one of them. And it included, again, big interpersonal drama that I won't get into the details because it's too much. And relationship issues with my husband. I thought we were going to be divorcing. There was so much. And then we moved, this is a huge move, obviously, across the world. And we didn't have our stuff for like 3 months, and it was just awful, to be honest with you. And at that time, my partner essentially business divorced me, and it was shaky. It was not, things weren't working for a while, but he told me that we were done. And I have never cried that hard in my life. I was laying on the floor of my living room. I was gut wrenching. So, because not only this relationship that was actually quite a big part of my life, was done. So the relationship was done. I had just moved. My life was feeling in shambles. And all of a sudden, I had a business to run. And I didn't want to run a GD online business. I didn't want to. I wanted to be the show pony. I didn't want to do the structure stuff. And I'm like, now I'm left with this. He also took away a lot of it. So, he took the men's program.
Yeah.
So that was, agreed upon. But I didn't have a section of income that was really bringing in some money. And then I had to run the rest of this business that we'd created together, and I didn't know how to do it. And I was terrified. It was really awful. And still to this day, that was 2022 that happened. Between 22 and 25, the last 3 years, I got my footing under me. I figured it out, figured out how to run the online business. But honestly, the reality check is that I don't want to run an online business.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's been a big part of this reckoning and this coming into who I really am. And the authenticity is I don't want to. So yes, it's still there, but am I going to grow it? Am I going to expand it? Do I have desires to be the next online CEO of this massive pelvic health company? Absolutely not. And it's been hard because I see other people growing and expanding and scaling in ways that I wanted to in the past, but it's actually it's not the authentic me. And so it's like the downfall of the business actually contributed to me learning that I have the capability to do what I don't want to do. And then to really realize, and I don't want to do it. So now I leave. Now I move, shift focus. Again, the online business is still there. My courses are amazing. They're wonderful. I stand behind them. But am I continuing to focus my energy on growing that? No.
Wow.
And it's scary, gut-wrenchingly scary, to be honest with you, because we just invested in a home.
You did.
My husband's a teacher. We've already stated that. We know that teachers they're not compensated for what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a burden. There's a burden of responsibility on my shoulders to make it work. And it's really scary. Yeah.
First of all, I can so relate. Different mechanics to the story, but the storyline is the underlying essence of it is really similar. And the timeline, by the way, for me.
Crazy, right?
Also, my shift started in 2015, just so you know. I'm like, whoa, Brie.
Oh my goodness.
Interesting. Of course it did. But I so appreciate you naming, first of all, the desire and that fell in your lap that you didn't even know you had for like the masculine structure and organization. That's so necessary in an online business. And I think a lot of people, having coached so many women in online businesses, I'm like, this is the part you gotta have. It's not just mission and like content. There's so much more. And I think that we can swing too far into our feminine and be like, oh, I don't want to be a bro business guy. But that's not what we're saying. There's a messy middle where it all needs to live. But I love that you found that. And it gave you something at the time that was beautiful for you and for your audience and for men in pelvic health. And then for better or worse, it broke up, and it catalyzed the divorce itself, maybe even through kicking and screaming and lying on your floor, literally doing that, right?
Literally.
Where you didn't even know, like at the time, where you were going to end up. And it's still evolving and it's still terrifying. And there's still so much to uncover. Thank you for sharing and being in the process.
Thank you for asking. I have never shared this publicly. So it feels good.
Yeah, I know. It does feel good. It feels good to hold, and we're not sharing my story today, but it feels good to know, dang, I went through that too. Slightly different circumstances. And I remember the day, it was long ago when I was right in it. And I was like, at some point, I know I will have a moment. I'll be in a moment and go, that's what that gave me.
Yeah.
And I've had the moment.
Yeah.
And I'm still seeing it play out and I'm still understanding all of the mechanics of it and processing them. But I think that the willingness to be in the shift and in the process is so brave, and to kind of follow your literal pelvis and gut on like, this is what's helping me feel alive now. This is my place to serve. It's not just an identity shift. We were talking about the bonds, right? It's like you had to break a bond.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Somewhat unwillfully at first, right? And now you're creating new bonds.
Mm-hmm.
You got some along the way and you're creating new ones that are like, yeah, this way, come this way. Yet that's also intimate and terrifying. And you're doing it. I love that you're doing it in person because that's so intimate.
Oh gosh, yeah. And the only way I can hold that is because of my connection with myself that's still growing.
Mm-hmm.
And that didn't feel natural at first. Even though I've been a movement person for so long, the embodiment piece and truly feeling comfortable with touching my body and being in my body and inhabiting my body. And, it started with dance. I'd say it started with dance, but then it's moved into more of the touch practice, which I'm not even talking about intimate touch. I mean, sure, that's part of it, but it's not all of it. People think self-touch, and I think often their mind goes to like self-pleasure, and that's just a small piece of it. There's actually so much more.
Yeah. I mean, shifting, like, so we've gone from the surface, PT, down into the depth of the darkest moment, and we're climbing back out, and you're actually reclaiming some parts, you know what I mean? Like, mechanically speaking, from that original professional world and coming back to in-person work and, have gone through Origin Pelvic Care and have had these major turning points with the modality of touch. That is a modality we know in physical therapy. Going back to the like, you can touch it versus it's woo, we're coming back to touch, but as a manifestation of the woo.
Yeah,
right?
Totally. Yeah. And bringing intimacy back into care, which is so missing in Western modern medicine, modern Western, you know what I'm saying? It's so missing. I mean, it's actually warned against, don't get too close to your patients. And I see why. Like, obviously there's reasons, obviously there's boundaries, but it's this sense of intimacy, not meaning a sense of touch or like type of touch, but a sense of really allowing the person to feel so seen and so safe and so held that they can actually experience results. And that's not seen in most modern care. Not all. I'm not making blanket statements. Some people can do amazing. I mean, there's so many amazing practitioners, so I'm not trying to, but you know what I mean?
Well, let's think about for a minute just the last time you went to a kind of standard physician's practice. They touched you to examine you or to treat you, right? But did they touch you?
No. Your first experience is like the crinkly paper, and you're like, laying down, and you're like, yuck, the crinkle sound. And then you're like, you have to put your legs up in this position, and then they're like, just like, get it over with, like in and out, like, let's just almost like, let's get this over for the both of us, is almost the way of thinking and being in that type of setting for like a gynecological exam or like a PAP or something like that, and it's a very intimate care, but there's no intimacy in that care.
I'm doing some work right now studying the objectification of the female body, and it's not mentioned in the course, but it's like I'm already taking it and applying it to medicine, of how we think of self-objectification or other objectification, especially to the female body, about like looks or something like sexuality. But when we think about it in terms of disease management or pain or whatever that happens more in the sort of Western medical world, it's like that's also objectification.
Oh yeah.
And we subscribe to it as the patient. I'm an object. I'm this thing to heal. I'm this thing to fix. The body is a vehicle. It's not this sentient part of me. And I just think about and look back on so many medical experiences that I'm like, whoa, like there was literally no intimacy.
No. Speaking of the body as an object, I mean, one thing that I've shared about publicly recently is this. I don't know if this would, just this experience that I had as an early physical therapist, going to being an observer of a hysterectomy procedure at a urogynecologist's office. I got to be a part of the surgery. I got to witness the surgery and be there to learn. And I was grateful for the experience, but it was wild because body as an object with the patient as an object is this patient was completely out, completely anesthetized. And the physician told me to insert my finger into her vagina and feel the position of the womb that was about to be removed. And it was so strange. I followed directions, but this woman was completely out. She had not consented to this, examination by someone she'd never met. I know that she had not. I mean, maybe in some small print in the paperwork, it talks about there may be, I don't know. But she didn't know, and she wouldn't know after she woke up from the procedure. And I felt so wrong with this body as an object on the exam table. And she felt lifeless, being anesthetized. Her tissues felt lifeless. And it's haunted me that I did this. And I didn't do anything wrong. It was a medical, I was
learning.
observing, and it was medical learning, but it does haunt me, because to me, it was almost like it was just a felt sense of body as an object, and sort of this like the doctor as the one who sort of knows and can do whatever the doctor wants. And that outsourcing that some medical professionals feel as the doctor, and that we tend to feel as the patient, giving our power away to the one that's the doctor. I can't stand for that anymore. I won't stand for that anymore. It's all about insourcing and giving the person their power back. And it just breaks my heart that a body would ever be treated as an object or a source of someone else's direction and someone else's, like, the way they're going to put the care on them. Like, that never happens with my clients. Their body is leading the way. It's not about me enacting on them. It's me listening to their body. They are the ones that's in charge.
Well, there's something so obviously intimate about that. And there's something, as you said, you've got to be in a relationship with yourself that you can stay integrated with yourself. And I think that when you were talking about the doctor, I was like, well, they're objectifying themselves too. They're making themselves they're separate from their service. They're sort of like, their identity becomes, I am the fixer, the healer, the mechanic, the whatever, instead of I am a human who happens to have this skill. If we start with I'm a human who has, then I'm also a human who feels, and I'm a human who honors this other human in front of me. Gosh, we could get into a whole conversation about that in our world, but it's like, and we can be human to human and there's no more equal playing field.
Exactly. I mean, it's really like, in my view, it's really divinity to divinity.
Right.
I mean, we're all one. We're all one. There really is no separation. When you see that, you can't be, you're an object or I'm an object, or, there is that separation's not there anymore. And again, kind of bringing it to world events and politics and like seeing your neighbors, like we have less separation between someone with maybe different political views, or, there's like, we're all part of the same divinity. And it sounds kind of, I don't know, it kind of sounds a little airy-fairy, but I really believe it. And I think that informs the best care. I'm just going to say it. I really do. When you can work with a provider who has that sense. And many do, but many don't. Many don't, though.
Many do. And I think there's a lot of people who are somewhere along the path. Sometimes they hit it and get it right. And sometimes they don't, even within one session with their provider. Sometimes they're like all in, and then all of a sudden they're not, And I think that that's the process we're all on as we walk each other home, and it's hard. But I love this conversation because I think it's giving women in service professions a lot of permission to be themselves.
Yeah.
And to lean into that human to human piece.
Mm-hmm.
And to see that your knowledge and your expertise and your credentials and the millions of courses you have on your resume are brilliant things, and they're amazing. And that's not the thing that's healing the person and their body in front of you. It's your presence and your energy and your love and your care and your willingness to see this person for who they are.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Amazing. May we have more people daring to liberate that part of themselves.
Well, it does feel edgy. I mean, for me, it has felt really edgy. And, I don't even call myself a physical therapist anymore, even though, it's part of me, but I'm not offering physical therapy care anymore. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. I don't even have a license in my state. Like,
really? Yeah.
That's a guardrail I put up on purpose when we moved here. I was like, I'm just not going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's so liberating, like you said, the edginess, leaning into that edginess. If you were to speaking of liberation and freedom, how would you define, okay, I'm going to say this differently. How would you define what freedom feel?
What does freedom feel like? I'm going to take a moment here. Let me just feel my gravity. To me, freedom feels like deep rest. Like deep rest in my bones, where I can be so grounded and calm and yet feel very expansive. That's how freedom feels to me, it's like a lightness. I'm not so good with words. I'm really good with feelings. Mm-hmm. I've got this feeling of freedom in my body right now that feels like freedom feels expansive. and yet also rooted. I think that to me, there's a difference. That's sort of like floating like freedom versus like a rooted expansiveness. That feels like true freedom to me.
I'm picturing the willow tree,
Yeah, beautiful.
It
Yes, with
just
that.
flows, but it's rooted. For me, I said this to my somatic therapist this week. I was like, it's like a water balloon, like you've got, when the water balloon's not full enough, it's just loose and wiggly and doesn't have any anchoring, it's just like,
Yeah,
it's not of service to you. When
right.
it's too full, it's going to pop way too easily or really hurt someone if you throw it at them, because it's going to be too hard. But you've got the middle ground that's like pliable, it's expansive, but it's also contained. And I was describing that's how my body felt. I was like, I'm like a perfectly filled water balloon,
You're so playful, Julie. I love that about you. I haven't thought about a water balloon in a long time, so I appreciate you bringing.
Feels a little cold for January, but I like being a water balloon fight. But here we are. But I also have this sense, it's like there's this contiguousness between me and my energy and the everything outside. It's that allness and oneness that there's nothing that's like separating.
Yeah.
That's freedom.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Great question. I haven't really thought about that specifically.
I'd invite our listeners to drop in, if you can, and just think about a moment where your brain labeled it as I feel free. It could be anything. And maybe see if you can get back in that moment and like, what does it actually feel like? Because we can label it as free up here in the mind, but how do you know you're there?
Right.
Back to that original question of like when you were feeling that in your body and you like clocked it and gave yourself a minute and you're like, oh, I'm so alive right now.
Yeah. And I mean, I can think of other times like walking through a meadow or like running through a field. That's like freedom, but I also feel really safe where I am. If I was like running through a place where I didn't know where the heck I was, or I didn't feel safe, like that wouldn't be freedom. So to me, there is this combination of feeling familiar, like rooted and contained, but also that running through a field feeling for me. So again, I think the willow tree is really a lovely representation because it's that like expanding like branches, the flowing in the wind, but yet it's got the roots.
So good.
Water balloons and willow trees. I love it.
It's going to be the name of our episode.
Yeah.
We just named it right there. Water balloons and willow trees.
Very SEO friendly, I'm sure.
Sure is. We'll see what AI gives me as a suggested name. And then if I don't like it, we'll be water balloons and willow trees. My AI editor. Oh, well, thank you for this. Speaking of freedom and aliveness, what is lighting you up the most about what's coming next for you?
I think what's lighting me up the most is just this deepening into my hands-on care, my in-person work, where I get to really nurture people and provide them this whole experience that even involves the way I cook for them. Like I cook them food and I provide them with all these little luxuries and then these little magical bits as well to their experience to really make a person, at least my intention is to make a person really feel so cared for and so held through the care that she's coming for. It's like there's more to it. And to really give a person that feeling of being special, and being seen and like, this is for you. This is for you, babe. Like this is all for you. And kind of, I think a little bit of me has missed that. Like as a woman who I feel like a little bit like I've thrown my family under the bus on this podcast, my parents under the bus, but I love my parents and they weren't necessarily super nurturing in that way, very, very loving, supportive people, but not necessarily cuddles and snuggles and magical trinkets and gifts and, that kind of thing. And also I had a son who wasn't super into some of the nurturing that I really wanted to give. And so in a way, reliving a little bit of that part of myself and it feels good. So for me, that's a little bit of a self-indulgent thing. And it really is lovely for many of my clients who are like, oh my gosh, I just get to be fully like taken care of. Like what a gift. And so I'm excited about that. It feels good to really bring in this mothering side of me that I'm truly in my full mother moving into crone body, like maiden is gone. We are done and gone with the maiden phase. I am full on in like mother moving into crone. And I love it. It's like I'm embracing that. And I'm embracing the rooting, and I'm embracing what I'm really excited about on a non-professional note is like landscaping and making our, right now we just literally are living on construction dirt, and it looks pretty bad. And so we're going to get our driveway this spring, and we're going to get some landscaping in, and we're really using the native landscape of Central Oregon, which is high desert. So it's very dry. There's not landscaping like you think of, but there is still landscaping to be done. Even if it just looks like grasses and that kind of thing, it's intentional. And I'm building a barefoot path, which is a cool thing that I learned in Germany, that's a thing. And Germans love their barefoot paths. So I'm bringing a barefoot path to our property and building paths into our hillside above us that people can walk on. And it's everything I wanted, was this rooting. And I'm making it happen.
You're
step by
making
step.
it happen.
Yeah.
Oh, so beautiful. Well, I'll be coming to Bend, and I'll
Yes,
be
please. Come on over.
partaking in the luxuriating and spoiling and being taken care of. That sounds amazing.
Spoiling, that's what I just want people to feel spoiled. It's important. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's pivot. Speaking of fun and desire and joy, the way I close out every episode is lightning round questions.
Okay.
That seemingly have nothing to do with anything, but everything to do with everything. They're hot seats, so give me what comes to you first. All right. So number one, if you could be any animal other than a human, what would it be and why?
It would be a leopard, because they're so beautiful. They're so beautiful and they're so sexy. Oh my goodness. Yes, a leopard.
Okay. Love this one. You're going to be a leopard. Beautiful and sexy. It's Brie embodied. Okay. Question 2. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Yes, 100%. No questions.
That is bar none the most polarizing question I ask on this show.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. People have
Who
strong
could say
opinions.
no? Come on. Sweet and sour and salty and tangy and creamy and crunchy and
You're multidimensional. That's just
so dimensional.
It goes. Yep. Yes. Number 3. If you could have a drink of any kind with 2 people, dead or alive, who would they be and why?
Well, this is a really good one. Oh man, this is not very lightning. I'm going to say Obama. He is a hero of mine. And also, gosh, this is really hard. This feels like a question I should have prepared for, and I'm not. I'm going to say Obama, and I'm going to say, honestly, Alexandra, my mentor in Origin Pelvic Care. I just
Amazing.
love her. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Perfect. That's who
go.
it is today. There's no straight A's on this one.
Tomorrow it'll be different. Yeah.
Might be different tomorrow. Yep. Amazing. Okay. It's an average Friday night.
Okay.
At your house. I'm a fly on the wall. What do I see you doing? Keep it PG.
PG. Okay. I know. Actually, it's pretty easy. I'm definitely watching, what's it called? Animal Control? I think it's called Animal Control. Maybe that's not what it's called.
I know what you're talking
Joel something. Oh my gosh, it's the best. It's our newest show. I'm watching that and I'm having dinner with my husband, and we are at home in our jammies 100%. The fire is on. We are relaxing. There is no wild Friday nights for us.
Same. And I want to tell you that's the same answer for everyone. So for anyone out there who's, especially if
Partying.
First of all, if you're partying, more power to you.
Good for you. Yeah, go out and do that thing.
Secondly, I just want the world to know there is no shame.
No.
We're proving it here in not doing anything on a Friday.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so nice. In fact, I get a little angry when I have plans on a Friday night. I'm like, taking away my Friday night with my home.
Yes.
And no, it really has to be worth it for me to go out on a Friday night.
We are going to start hosting this Friday. Is the first one. Once a month, Friday game night, which is just like, come. We might play games, we might not, but it's like third space. We're hanging. You don't have to do anything to prepare. Don't bring food. I'm not making you food.
Nice. I love that you said that. I can't stand a gathering where you have to bring food. I'm like, I have to come up with something that other people will like too. It can't just be my weird thing that I want to make for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to have some Chex Mix, and I'm going to have bubbly water and wine. And
nice.
You're on your own after that.
That sounds great.
There might be cookies. Who knows? But that's it. But it's just this desire to hang and organize it a little, but at the same time, not make it a whole big thing. And So far, people are like, yes,
That's awesome. Yeah,
let's do that.
that sounds doable.
But every other Friday night is Netflix and chill, or like whatever you want to call it. Totally. All right, final question of the lightning round. What is a hidden or not so hidden pleasure or obsession of yours that other people, speaking of weirdness, might find surprising, weird, quirky, or questionable?
Gosh, I am rather obsessed with like twerking. So people might, if you know me, that might not be weird to somebody listening, but yes, I absolutely love twerking and doing it in like really ridiculous booty shorts by myself, you know.
I love this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So also nakedness. That's a huge passion of mine. Not in public, although, you know, that was not a nice thing about Germany and the sauna culture is lovely to be naked. So I do love nakedness. So those are two quirks, I guess we could say.
I do love nakedness as well. And we have these big picture windows in our living room. And sometimes I have to remind myself that we have these big picture windows in our living room. And I'm like, Julie,
Yeah.
no one's probably looking, but if they are,
Yeah. Well, if they are, hey,
I
enjoy.
mean, we all have bodies.
We all have bodies.
Yeah. Yeah. We all have boobs and butts. Well, women or people with this type
People with
of
boobs and
body.
butts, yes.
People with boobs and butts. Yep. Oh, amazing. Thank you for participating in the lightning round. I have one final question for you. That's not a lightning round question, so you can take a minute to think about it. And I also welcome our listeners to just notice what comes up as I ask and as she answers. If someone listening is feeling a quiet nudge towards something truer for them, but isn't ready to leap yet, maybe even not ready to make it known or even move a centimeter, what's one small way they could begin tapping in or listening or just being in place with it?
I love this question because to me, it just invites slowing down, which you said I could do. It invites coming into the bones of your body. To me, the best thing is to not pressure yourself and completely eliminate any pressure to make any decision or any change or figure anything out right away. And so no pressure. Pressure literally makes the feminine freeze. And so I would have somebody breathe into, you know, hand on belly, hand on pubic bone, hand on vulva, if you want to go there, if that's part of one of your body parts, you know, hand on your lower area and then one hand on your heart and just breathing one breath. Like, don't make it a big thing, but just breathing and feeling the fact that you have a skeleton, your very own skeleton, the fact that you have a space inside of your skeleton. On the inside of your ribs, there's a heart. On the inside of your pelvic bowl, there's a womb space. If you have a womb, like there is organs on the inside of these bones. And just like breathing into the inside of your body. This is such a powerful space of creation and knowing that we don't tap into enough. And so I would just be with yourself more often and then let it go. Like, know that that's actually doing the magic right there, is just connecting inward with your body more often and your inner places of knowing, your heart, your womb, your gut. Just breathing in, feeling it, and then letting it go. And then no pressure, because it'll come in your dreams. It'll come in the breadcrumbs that you follow in life. It'll come in the people that come in, the people that fall away. It'll come.
So, like, what to do with it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, you don't have to force it. But I think that, yeah, the body connection. And
There's
then
such
just
a
allowing.
beautiful, allowing or getting to know.
Yeah. Starting to listen to the little nudges that come up from your body.
This metaphor is coming up about like dating and getting to know before we run off and get married. Yeah. It's like that urge to jump into action or a decision or clarity or direction. When you hear that first nudge, you know, and why don't we just date it for a little bit? Why don't we just be with it and see what arises? Like, are you willing to even experiment with that a little bit?
Right. Yeah. And that idea of like dating, like for some people, when you know, when you have that, like that feeling of like, that's my person, you know, and sometimes people maybe have felt that and maybe you felt it kind of in your body. But to me, I feel things in my body when it's a yes and when it's a no. And first, though, you have to develop that relationship with your body and like go there. So Yeah. Breathing into your bones.
Which can be incredibly challenging for some people.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
we can have very fraught relationships with our bodies or
for sure.
constantly operate from outside of our bodies, which is not a wrong thing. It's just how it is. And so even placing your hand on your belly could feel unavailable for someone. But, I wonder if like also there's no pressure there. Like you even said it, you're like,
No pressure.
no
Yeah.
pressure.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
just being with your breath or even or touch a neutral place like your hand, something that's just really make it yours. And I think that that's something that, especially for women, straight A students, bringing it full circle, it's like, am I doing this right?
Right. There's no right or wrong. I mean, even just
Yeah.
a sigh, like, oh, the number of people who feel so unable
Yeah.
to make a sound is shocking to me. And I used to be one of them, but just a sigh is another way to get you into your body, out of your head, into your body, feeling your throat move. Oh, feeling that, one of the somatic tools, movement, breath, and sound and touch,
Yeah.
using that sigh, gets you into your body. Just little practices to get you to know how it feels to be in a body, because then you'll have that knowing of this breadcrumb that I'm seeing or this door opening that I'm seeing is a yes in my body or it's a no in my body. But you don't know until you've touched in and tapped into your body in your own way and in your own time.
I love what you're naming too. I think that there's this beautiful movement in the wellness world, I'll name it, which is like listen to your body.
Yes,
Yes, listen to your body. And how can you listen to your body to make a decision if you don't have a reciprocating, exchanging relationship of communication with your body?
exactly. Yeah. And it can be so simple to start with. It doesn't have to be some big fancy practice, just so simple. And really listen to your body can sound really intangible and what the heck does that mean? But it's really just noticing. Just noticing. It's a very slight difference. But to me, when I hear listen to your body, it's like, what the hell does that mean? But it's like just noticing, almost like just noticing a sensation, noticing a feeling, or noticing nothing, even nothing. Numbness is something to notice and be aware of. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And you could listen into being terrified, like whatever that feels like.
yeah,
And if that's listening, also, it doesn't necessarily mean your decision needs to be made off of that listening, though.
right.
It's a great thing to notice.
Notice.
Yeah. But I just also love the permission to not rush too.
Yes, no rushing. I have to
Certainty.
remind myself of that all the time. So
Me too.
I hope it helps somebody else.
Me too. I know. It helps me. Thank you. Well, thank you, Bree, for being here today and sharing your beautiful story and wisdom and things that you never knew you were signing up for and have become beautiful gifts to share with the world. So much
Thank you
appreciated.
so much. I loved this
Me
conversation.
too. Me too. Perfect kickoff to season 2. I'll put in the show notes how everyone can get in touch with you and learn about your work and come to the Healing House in Bend, Oregon. And we'll have to keep up with you on social media too. So y'all go make sure you follow her. I'll put all her handles in the show notes.
Thank you so much. Bye.